Yo, 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 what's up? Bang, bang, not a gang. It's game day. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, how are we feeling? It is Monday night football tonight. We've waited all week. It's been a long wait. What is up, beautiful people? Happy Monday. Good, almost afternoon. It's still technically morning over here. Good morning, good afternoon, and maybe good evening to some. What is up? How the hell are we feeling? We got a game tonight. We got Monday night football. Oh, man, I'm so excited. We've literally been waiting a whole week, and it feels like a whole month. Like this week went by so slow. When we lose a game, it feels painstakingly long. I hope they get back on the winning track tonight, because if they win, they're in first place in the NFC West. Everybody's going to be hyped. There's going to be good vibes. It'll be a great week. We need a win. The Niners need a win. Yeah, we don't want to see them lose and go 1-3 and the fan base in shambles. Let's hope they get a dub tonight. It all starts with the offense. Can they execute? We know the defense is going to come out firing. Well, we hope, right? That's what we're expecting. Defense coming out hot and firing. Can the offense match the intensity and bring the heat like, the defense has done all year? That's the big question, That is the big question. Let's see these comments here. My man Mello Tucker says, Niner gang or don't bang. Deb Topio, what's good? Thrift Shop says he just bought his Huff jersey last night. Let's go. Eric O says, hope to see you there. I think I'm going to stay in for the game today. Just a vibe today. I was going to go to the game. I have a lot of other games I'm going to this year, but I got to save a little bit of money. Riley says, big game, let's go. Memphis Rap News says, let's go, Niner gang. We need a big dub tonight. We need a huge dub tonight. Nate says, Debo touchdown, 2 touchdowns. He's calling it. I think Debo gets a touchdown. 2 would be nice. Oscar says, Jimmy G, let's go, 49ers. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Christy Marie, let's go, Niners. Let's go. Kelvin says, what's up? I'm so excited. Rhea Jesus is in school, hype before game time. Tell your whole school, let's go Niners, baby. Nia Perez is getting ready to head over to Levi's. Let's go. Let's go. All gas, no brakes. What's up, Albert? 916, bang, bang, Nana gang. Alberto says, Huff, 2 picks, 2 sacks. Woo! Brandon Murphy says, in school with Raj. What's up to your school? Roldan says Jordan Mason breakout game. I hope Jordan Mason gets some dope action today. I need to see Jordan Mason get some carries, man. We've talked about Bobby Turner back. Maybe Bobby Turner unleashes him. Maybe he unleashes Jordan Mason. We would hope that he does. The run game is the key to the Niners tonight. They have to run the ball, establish their dominance, and come out physical. Hit him in the mouth. That's what they need to do. And I think Jordan Mason could be a big part of this. Jeff Wilson Jr. has run well. And then you have my boy, Marlon Mack. Maybe he can step in. Who knows? But I love Jordan Mason. That's my guy. And I think he needs to get a little bit of action in this game. The Niners have to be physical. They have to control the clock, the time of possession. 30 carries. You can't win this game if you're not going to run the ball 30 times if you're the Niners. If the Rams are going to force Jimmy to throw the ball, that favors them. Jimmy's going to go out there and he needs to do his quick strike game, play action. You got to let the run game take over. I think that's what we need to do. Obviously, last week was not Jimmy's best game. He left a lot of throws that he should have, I'm guessing he would love to take back. And, he says he was not feeling, 100% ready. He was a little rusty. So let's see what an extra week of practice does with this team. So hopefully it's better than last week. It just didn't look good. Denver threw out a good defensive effort in the mile-high altitude. Maybe those were factors. But, the Niners offense needs to get clicking. This could be a big game. The Rams are usually good medicine for the Niners to kind of snap out of a funk. And whenever the Niners do lose a game, they usually bounce back under the Kyle Shanahan era most of the time. So I'm expecting a big game, a bounce back, like a breakout game for the offense. I feel like they can't be contained that long. you have great players. You have Debo, you have Kittle, you have Ayuk. Like, these guys can't be dormant for that long. Eventually, they're going to have to break. But I think the run game is the key. What's the key? What's up? Hey, Peter Parker. We got to Levi around 10:30. Let's go, man. Everybody's going down to Levi's today. You got to love it. Alberto says, Debo throws for a touchdown. That would be dope. Steve-O says, it's Monday Night Football. Let's go. Danny says, I know it's easier said than done, but double team Cup make their other receivers beat us. It's easier said than done because Cooper Kupp is out of this world. The guy, they're using him all over the place. They're putting him in the slot. They throw him outside. They kind of use him like Debo a little bit now. He's getting a little bit of running carries, sort of like a wide back. Kupp is tough to beat, but you're right. They have to stop Kupp, shadow him, double him up, and make everybody else stop him. They even have I think it's a tight end or a wide receiver, somebody that's being played as a fullback. Like the Niners defense is always copied, and the Rams are copying the Niners. They always do. They got this guy that's a fullback all of a sudden. Let me see. It was like this. I've noticed this guy, and then they wrote an article about him today. Who's this guy? Yeah, Sean McVay. He's taken a page out of Kyle Shanahan's playbook. So they have this guy, wide receiver, Ben Skowronek, and he's playing fullback. They're using this wide receiver, and they're making him fullback. I don't know if you've watched some of the Rams games, but this guy is basically playing like this Kyle Juszczyk hybrid role as a wide receiver. Like the Rams are stealing the Niners concepts. Now the Niners need to start doing their own shit again and start recreating this genius that Kyle Shanahan has, right? People copy them, but I feel like we have to get back to basics, but also start showing the world like why we're so damn creative. Like, go back to the motion plays, use those screen plays, use the jet sweeps. Like, I just don't see enough of it from Kyle. So people are copying us. Obviously, this is going to be a heavyweight fight because McVay and Shanahan, they both know each other's tendencies. These guys match up well. Both teams match up pretty damn good. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. Debbie says, Bosa is going to eat tonight. I think he's going to be feasting tonight. I think Nick Bosa is going to have a hell of a game. The Rams O-line is a little banged up there. I think their center, they got some issues with their O-line. One of their guys, what's the guy's name? Let me see. So Shelton, their guy, Coleman Shelton, he's playing center tonight. He's usually like a guard for them. So this is kind of a transition for them. Their line's going to be a little battered up. You know, they don't have Whitworth from the years past. That's already a gaping hole for them. So it's going to be a test for the Rams O-line, right? Just like the Niners O-line. We're going to have a test too without Trent Williams, Colton McKivitton. I think Nick Bosa is going to absolutely dominate tonight. But then on the flip side, is Aaron Donald going to dominate us tonight? So it's going to be interesting. Both D-lines are going to be crushing, and bringing pressure. We know Bobby Wagner's on the Rams this year, and I know he's not in his prime, but he's still Bobby Wagner. He knows the Niners' tendencies. He knows how to play Jimmy. It's gonna be interesting. You know, the keys to this game though are you have to force turnovers. You got to make Matt Stafford uncomfortable, get him under pressure, and he throws turnovers all the time. You got to run the game, or you got to run the ball and control the game, right? You got to control the clock. I think those are the biggest issues. And if the Niners can force turnovers and win that battle, limit penalties, we got this game in the bag. But that's easier said than done. The Rams are not an easy game. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. We had them 6 times in a row. We were dog walking them every time, and then they beat us in the NFC Championship game. So there's revenge out there. It's definitely revenge. All right. Brendan says, I think Jimmy will have a better game. I mean, you can't be worse than last game. So I hope he does too. I hope Jimmy has a nice game. I want him to have a solid game, limit mistakes. If he can limit the mistakes, I think we have this game. This defense is insane. Claudia says, I'm not going to lie, I'm worried. I think a lot of people are. Nate says, Ward versus Kupp, premium matchup. Mooney Ward, let's see him make that. Let's see him earn his money. I'm excited for Mooney Ward, man. And Emmanuel Mosley, like this secondary is better than it's been in a long time. This is one of the best secondaries the Niners had. So I know Cooper Kupp's going to be a monster and a matchup nightmare, but he's going up against the best secondary the Niners have had in a very, very, very long time. So I think the Niners going to bring the heat with him. And you got Hufanga, and Gibson have been playing out of their mind. Those two guys are going to bring a lot of extra pressure as well. So again, Niners secondary. Shout out to Lenore, who's played well. Sam Womack, who's played well. Mosley, Ward, Hufanga, and Gibson. This secondary is going to give them a long day. And again, Matt Stafford throws a lot of picks. Matt Stafford throws a lot of picks. And I think that he's going to throw more picks tonight. The Niners, again, if they just get to Stafford, force pressure, that man throws picks. He's done it his whole career. Just got to get pressure on him. How do I think our line will hold up? I think you're talking about O-line, and that's the big question. To me, that's one of the key factors for this game. Can the Niners' offensive line stand up, hold their blocks, and give Jimmy protection? That is going to be the biggest, worry on offense, I feel. There's no Trent Williams, and to me, that is the biggest gaping hole. I know Colton McKivitz stepped in last year when Trent Williams was out against the Rams. They did play. That Week 18 game, Ambry Thomas, game-winning interception. We remember that game. That was a tough battle. Colton McKivitz was there. So he's been in this matchup before. He's been in this battle. They cut him last year. Then they brought him on the practice squad, and then they brought him back this year. And instead of guard, they played him at tackle. So this is a guy they're really pushing for. Colton McKivitz, he won that job to be on the 53-man roster. I think they believe in the guy. And he's going to be a massive X factor. Now, you got Jake Brendel, who's been kind of not really doing great, but he hasn't been really doing, horrible. But he did have a bad game last week. He hasn't played too hot. Been mediocre, I guess you'd say. Jake Brendel has been center. Dan Brunskill is healthy this week. Now, is Brunskill going to come in and steal his spotlight or steal some snaps at center? Maybe. I don't think Brunskill is the best at center, but he might be a better option right now than Jake Brendel. Jake Brendel may just be mentally in a funk. That the snap last week was really bad. Him and Jimmy just didn't have good connection. He wasn't holding his blocks right because when you have those mistakes, it starts mentally getting to you. So I don't know. Is Jake Brendel going to be able to start, or is Dan Brunskill going to start? That's the big question. Then you got the right side. I know Burford and Banks at the guard spots have been pretty well overall this year. A little bit of rookie mistakes on that right side by Burford. He's had some holding penalties. He's young. He's going to make those penalties, but he's been holding his blocks pretty well. Now the big question on the other side of the right is the other tackle is Mike McGlinchey. Is Mike McGlinchey going to be able to stay up, hold his blocks? Traditionally, he hasn't been the best pass blocker, and that's going to be a massive component to look forward to. How good can Mike McGlinchey be in this game? The Rams' defensive line is good. You got Aaron Donald. They're going to push him all over the place. They're going to stunt him up the middle. They're going to throw him out to the outside against Mike, and then maybe throw him on McKivitz. Whoever's not looking good tonight, Aaron Donald's attacking. So this is definitely a massive matchup for the Niners, and I'm a little worried because it is going to be tough without Trent Williams. But hey, it's next man up, and these guys are getting paid money to go out there and play, so they got to perform 100%. AGR says, I think the run game will be better tonight now that Bobby Turner is back. I think so too. You would only imagine it can get better. Bobby Turner comes in. He's been the running back guru over the years. I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off of Kyle. I think he's going to really help him out. And I think the run game should be the dominating factor for the Niners. If the Niners want to win, they have to run the ball effectively. If they can't run the ball effectively, it's not going to be a good night. They have to run and be physical. That's Niner football. Run the ball down their damn mouths. That's what they have to do. I do agree. I think Bobby Turner will infuse some energy to these guys. I think it's going to be a factor that just elevates them, Lifted says, I'm not going to be there today. I'm not going to be there today. I'm going to some other games this year, but will not be at the Rams game. I debated it all week. Hey, Peter Parker says, I think we bounce back tonight. Clean, crisp game. Niners, best birthday present I could ask for. Hey, Peter Parker, I forgot it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Let's get this birthday dub for Peter Parker. Drop a little happy birthday in the comments. Wish my boy a happy birthday. Let's get this birthday dub for you, man. This would be a beautiful victory for you. Christy says, big game. We can turn everything around with the win. It's still early. The Niners win this game. They're in first place. Everybody's hyped up. Get this dub, and this is a big monumental turnaround because after this, you got 2 games that you can dog walk. You got Panthers and Falcons. Obviously, it's any given Sunday. But I think the Niners, if they win this game, this is a huge momentum boost, and then you can win the next 2 games. And that's 3 straight wins that you really, really, really can use for confidence building. So I agree. Well, there's factors to that. I'll explain that some other time. But we're getting there. We're working on it. Aaron Donald might have 2 sacks tonight. He might against this offensive line. Any news on Brunskill? He should be playing. He's cleared. Brunskill's cleared to play. Now we just don't know where they're going to slot him at, and we haven't heard much about the game plan yet. But a couple hours before the game, we'll start knowing a little bit more of what to expect. But Brunskill should be playing tonight, and he was cleared for Monday night, and that's a good thing. So, yeah. What's up, E? Jordan Mason back. He never left. He just wasn't getting the carries. Kyle Shanahan said, we're going to give you 1 carry last week. I hope he turns it around and gives him more carries. This is a guy that needs to go out there and get carries. He's a young running back, fresh legs. Might as well use the guy and give him some carries out there. I feel like Jordan Mason should get some action. He was a great player in training camp. He really stepped up in preseason, and he earned his spot on this roster. Utilize him. Again, this is the thing with the Niners. They have all this talent. I feel like sometimes it just doesn't get utilized the right way. Like, you have George Kittle. Go out there, throw him out as a receiver. I know he's so important as a blocker. I know we need him to be there. But, man, if they use him the way that the Chiefs use Travis Kelce, I mean, the guy could have monster games every day. But I get it. He has to be used as a blocker in this scheme. That's how Kyle Shanahan, wins in his matchups. But you can scheme George Kittle open a lot. So I hope George Kittle gets used a lot tonight and has a big game. I hope everybody has a big game, but, it's going to be a tough battle against the Rams. Brandon says, is Elijah Mitchell coming back? He's supposed to be out for 8 weeks, strained MCL. So he's going to be out for 2 months. He's been on the mend for a little bit now. So he will be back later this season. He's expected to miss 8 weeks. So sometime towards the stretch run of the season, we'll have Elijah Mitchell back. It's a tough blow to this team. They have to find they have to make sure that these running backs they have now can really hold them afloat. I've seen Jeff Wilson. He hasn't been bad. Again, that's why I want to see them use Jordan Mason. They have Marlon Mack. They have Tevin Coleman, but they didn't call him up. They do have running backs that can kind of go out there and do their thing. I want to see Mason get his chance. He's the youngest guy of the group. Ty Davis Price, he's also on the injury report right now because he has a high ankle sprain. So running backs, a big position for this team. They have them. Just got to utilize them a little bit more. Some of the guys they have, like Mason. So faithful forever. Is Sam Womack starting? Last week, Diamador Lenore got the start, and Kyle Shanahan said because he's been really playing so good in practice. So I think that Diamador Lenore kind of passed them up. It's not a bad thing. It's just competition. You have 2 young players going out there, and then they both want to show that they're the top dog at that nickel spot. And it's good to have 2 really good players out there, just battling and getting better because they're competing with each other. So right now, if it's the same as last week, I think Lenore gets the start. But again, I think Sam Womack has just got to go out there and elevate his game in practice. That's Kyle. He's going to go out there and make these guys elevate their game. So right now, again, if it's the same as last week, I think Diamador Lenore is going to be your starting nickel. So Danny Gray. Oh, let's talk about Danny Gray, right? So he is doubtful with the hip injury. I don't think he's playing today. They did sign Willie Snead, wide receiver Willie Snead, to the active roster. He was on the practice roster, veteran guy. He's been on the Saints and the Ravens. They did bring him in this offseason on the practice squad. They put him on the active roster today. And that probably means there's no Danny Gray today. So it's a little bit of an unfortunate start to Danny Gray's career. Hasn't really seen much action other than a preseason deep bomb from Trey Lance. And everybody was like, oh, God, this guy's going to be the man. And then the Vikings game, he got a 2-point conversion, did a little dance. I remember he did the gritty. Announcers were not too pleased. And after that, we haven't seen much of him. He's been dealing with some hip injuries and hasn't really got to play in the game. He was inactive week 1 against Chicago. And, it's unfortunate for Danny Gray right now. It seems like his career's getting off to a really bad start. So we'll see what happens. But Willie Snead is definitely not on the game plan tonight. I think we have a guest here. Let me see. Let me bring my guest on here. Yo, we got a guest coming up. I think he left. I'll be right back. I'm going to pause this.
Yo.
Wait, no, here we are. There we are. There he is. There he is. It's Smitty.
The other camera wasn't working, so I had to switch to this cam. I don't know.
Oh, good. We got Smitty from a different angle.
Let's see if I can go to the other mic. Hold on. We'll go to. Can you hear me right now? Good on this mic?
I can hear you. Yeah. Look at this.
I don't know
He's
what's
in
going
the studio.
on. I stopped in to say good luck. I want to wish you all good luck tonight. I know we got a couple weird bets. We don't need to go over any of them because some of them are negative. So good luck. Debo season hopefully starts fully starts today. We got a lot of injuries. This has been a horrible week, bro, with Javonte going down, Cordell Patterson's out, JT's injured. The list just goes on and on. This has been a brutal year. You know, Lance going down, like it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable injuries, bro.
Been rough, man. Javonte was a rough one. You know what, Smitty? I gotta tell the chat this real quick. I don't know how long I'm gonna stay on today, but I've never seen Smitty geek out so much. You know, yesterday we didn't have, there was no Niners game. And, you know, I'm usually so busy on a Sunday, you know, watching the Niners game, putting all the content, doing my shows and stuff. And Smitty also busy. I think both of us just enjoyed watching all these games yesterday. This man, Smitty, we have a little, you know, the Quad Box text group. Smitty was so hyped about the Cardinals yesterday. Like, he was like, you see Kyler? You see Kyler? Yo, you were showing your fandom. It was pretty funny to hear. Like, you were like, how about them Cardinals? Like, he was gassed up on the Cardinals. Like, I've never seen Smitty so hyped on the Cardinals yesterday, until yesterday. And then I was like, well, yeah, you know, playing Panthers. He goes, you'd be hyped up too if you were up 26-10. So shout out to your Cardinals. The Niners need to win to stay up with your boys today.
You know, sometimes I don't think you guys appreciate what I put up with in our group chat. Like, first of all, there's 3 of you against me. Okay. And second of all, like, yeah, everything I'm saying, you guys would be saying tenfold. You know, like Kyler marches down the field, you guys say, oh, it's because of the defense set him up. Or if the Cardinals are winning, oh, it's because they're playing the Panthers, you know, or whatever. You guys always have an excuse and on top of that, like even in your chats, a lot of times it'd be like the Cardinals could win, and it's like Cardinals are trash. Like, just no matter what the Cardinals do, you guys are constantly ripping on the Cardinals. Look, the Cardinals are looking pretty decent right now. At least they look pretty decent. We'll see what happens. We always tend to drop the ball in the 11th hour. Yeah. So we'll see how we finish. We normally finish really, really badly. Even everything in Arizona, like I can at least admit it. The Cardinals, the Suns and 4. We look so amazing, and then we drop the ball. But I'm excited about what I see. At least we got a really brutal schedule. I've told you that before. I don't know if I need to be yelling.
No, we know your schedule is rough, man, and you guys do fall apart. But it was so funny yesterday. I was like, damn, Smitty, you were hyped up. It was good. It was good to see. I was happy to hear you hyped up, you know, about your boys, and rightfully so. Congrats to your guys. I hope I feel, because you know me, if the Niners are winning, you know me, I'm gonna be talking the most out of that group. So you're right, man. You handle your business. Team won, and you know you were hyped up. Let us have it. So good to see. I got this question from Jordan Ismail. So he says, if Jimmy sucks like he did last week, do we see Purdy? He says, LMAO, I see. What do you think? Are the Niners going to play Purdy this year? I know you said yes, but because of injury. Now, do you think they just throw Purdy in there if Jimmy's just like struggling, or what do you feel?
I mean, yeah, yeah. I think if Jimmy looks like dog water, I just don't think Kyle's going to do that. But I don't know Kyle. I don't know Kyle at all. Kyle could literally start Purdy tonight, and I wouldn't know it. You know, like I'm done predicting Kyle. Yeah. But like, if Jimmy looks like dog water for an entire half, and you have a chance and you're down by 7 or something, like would you make the swap? Maybe you would. I probably would. But we already know what Jimmy is. I don't know if Kyle knows what Jimmy is.
After all these years, you don't think he knows?
I don't think so. I think he still doesn't know. He still thinks Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I guarantee you, if he had a chance right now, today, right, like this moment, to get Kirk Cousins right now, he would do it in a heartbeat, New York. He would do it so quick. Yeah, millisecond. I agree. Couple questions I need to take before we move on. Who's taking Al-Shahir's spot? Linebacker Azeez Al-Shahir out 8 weeks with the MCL sprain. He'll be replaced by Demetrius Flanagan-Fowle, the veteran. American First says, is Jason Verrett coming back, or when is he coming back? He could come back next week, depending on if he's healthy, but the Niners don't need to rush him back. He is recovering from a torn ACL. He's looked good, but it really depends on if they need him and if he's ready to come back, but potentially could be back next week. We'll see. Him and Jimmy Ward both can come back next week. Moving forward, though, you're right. Jimmy has, I don't know, this whole week, I don't think we've talked about it much because I know we've both been busy. You saw the videos between Kyle and Jimmy. They're both denying that there's tension. Obviously, they're not going to sit there and admit on live TV against the media that there's tension. But do you sense that there is like some beef? There's some tension there? Do you? I mean, you saw the video where Jimmy says, your plays suck, man. And he says, oh, I don't know what I said there. And Kyle's like, I didn't see the video. But it clearly looked like they were both lying in that situation. What do you think about the whole Jimmy and Kyle thing? Do you think they'll see eye to eye? Because if there's no trust between a quarterback and coach, it's just not going to work.
Well, has the media pressed him for an answer on that? Like, do we even know what
they did? So Grant Cohn, of course, asked a lot of the questions, and a few other reporters followed up. But Kyle, I think I played both videos. I think I shared them both. But Kyle basically says, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about," and then he did act like he knew what he was talking. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see it." And he goes, "I don't think that's what he said," referring to Jimmy in the video. And then when Jimmy was asked, he goes, "Oh, I see a lot of stuff on the field. I don't know what I was said there." And he goes, "Well, at least they caught that. It could have been worse," or something like that. So they both denied it, but then when they were talking about it, it's like they knew exactly what was going on. So I don't know. It was a weird situation.
I mean, look, we've got Jimmy in the doghouse, like starting the year, so much so he wasn't even allowed in the facility, right?
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't return calls. He really screwed the organization over by waiting on his surgery situation, and so I think there is some tension between him and Kyle. I don't think Kyle wanted him starting. I don't think anybody wanted him starting at this point, but like Kyle and John put this team in that position to where there was this pressure, and we don't need to get into it, but I don't think we would be where we are today if Jimmy was on the roster. If Jimmy was cut, especially in the offseason. If he was cut like in the 11th hour, maybe Trey still gets hurt. Maybe Kyle still runs him up the gut and he still gets hurt. But I do believe that if Jimmy were off the roster, he would be better protected. There would be a different situation, and Kyle would be more cautious with using him up the gut. But then again, what does he do as soon as I'm sorry, I get negative again. As soon as Trey went down, he ran Jimmy up the middle, and then he's run Deebo Samuel up the gut. So I'm just worried about Deebo. My concern tonight is escaping injury. Like, can Kyle utilize everybody without putting them in danger? That's my concern. That's my concern from like a fantasy perspective, from a just player perspective. Like, there's no need to put Deebo in harm's way if you don't need to. You have running backs that can run up the middle. There's no need to run Deebo up the A gap or the B gap. Deebo can run all he wants to his heart's content on jet sweeps. Give him the football at the line of scrimmage. Here, Deebo, this is the play. This is the play. Blue 32, Deebo 11, hike. Deebo, take the ball, Deebo. Deebo, take the ball. Deebo gets the ball. Deebo go. These where people say, did you see that play? Jimmy to Deebo. It's not Jimmy to Deebo. It's Deebo to Deebo. Jimmy has nothing to do with it. He's like, here's the ball. And then you watch this traditional 3 or 4 yard across the middle cut by Deebo. Deebo takes it up, then knifes up the middle of the field and goes 80, 70 yards, whatever. That's all Deebo.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the thing is, I do feel there was a comment that says the chemistry is off and the presser didn't help. I do feel like there's some weird tension. And you're right. Like, the whole off season, he was going to be traded and he wasn't, and he was, and he wasn't. It was just all weird. And the fact that, they went and traded up to get, Trey last year and that whole thing. If you listen to John Lynch this last week, he was on KMBR, I think it was Friday, and he even said, he goes, Jimmy told him it was he didn't agree. He says it was a mistake going to get Trey. Like, there's tension there. They're not going to sit there and tell us. Obviously, you're the starting quarterback. You put yourself in Jimmy's shoes. I'd be pissed too if I was him. I'm not going to tell everybody. He's handled it well, but I think you're right. Like, by not trading him, it did create a situation, and now he's going to be playing a little bit pissed, and then it is weird dynamics, but you're right. They have to call the plays to not get. They just got to open up the playbook and trust everybody, not just Jimmy. And the thing with Debo is, I feel like, and the more I look at it, the way I feel with Kyle is he's not like intentionally trying to get these guys hurt. He's just looking at it like a chessboard. He goes, okay, I'm going to use this play. I'm going to use this play, and this is going to work. Like he looks at it as a chessboard, but he doesn't look at the players in ways of, it's like they're a pawn. That's what it is. It's like they're a pawn in his chess piece, in his chessboard, and that's what he's using. Because if the play works, he's going to continue to use it. He doesn't care if it's going to get. He doesn't look at it in terms of, oh, this is a high usage play. It's going to get a guy hurt. It's oh man, they can't stop it, so I'm going to continue to use it. And that's what he said. He goes, I'm not going to not use a play if they couldn't defend it, and that's what was working for him. So unfortunately, maybe sometimes his play calling and his plays and his schemes are a little aggressive, and it gets these players hurt because the Niners get a lot of injuries, man. I know a lot of teams do, but it's just a high rate of injuries, and I feel like it's a usage
more
way the scheme is, and they're a very physical team,
Yeah, it's more injuries than really any other team, and it's like it's in the same position. Like it's odd when the running back room one after the other. That's like we have that bet. I don't want to repeat and create any kind of negativity on the channel right now, but we have that bet. You know the bet, but it's like it's one after the other. It's the running back room. It's how deep are we going to go? Is it going to go 7 deep? Like, at some point, Jordan Mason's going to be starting games. Like I feel like that's an inevitable thing, but maybe not. Maybe Wilson stays healthy. We'll see. But I do feel like tonight for you guys to win, and I'm not saying you can't win, you need a defensive touchdown or two. And I think your defense is capable of that. So, that's what's going to be required. Your defense is going to have to win the games. Your offense isn't going to win the games. As negative as that sounds, I think that's still a positive in that your defense can do it. Like your defense is that good.
Defense is top shelf, Smitty. They can go and win games. You're right. Maybe they need to put some points on the board to help out the offense. But I feel like eventually this offense, there's too much talent for it to stay dormant. Like they can't just not do well. You have so much talent, Debo and Kittle, and we know the players on the team. Like I feel eventually they got to break out of their funk, right? Like you would imagine Monday night, big spotlight. Like this is going to be a game where if you can't show up and break out tonight, man, there's definitely some issues there. So this is a big game for the Niners. They got to go out and show that they can go out there and put points on the board and not just on defense. And again, Kyle Shanahan and McVay, they know each other very well, and I think they know how to match up and play each other. But at the same time, you don't want to take this loss on Monday night against the rival, man. This would be a tough loss for the Niners to deal with. I wouldn't say the season would be over, but this would be a hard loss to come back from.
Yeah, it would be. It'll be a tough game. Cooper Kupp's going to be all over the field. He's not somebody that's easily locked. You can lock down because he lines up all over. So it's not like you can double him like other wide receivers. That's why JJ is so effective in that Ram style attack or whatever.
Crazy.
So JJ will be a problem, or I mean Cooper Kupp will be a problem. I don't think they're going to run the ball on you guys.
No, I don't either.
They're not going to run the ball. It's either going to be Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, or you guys have a real low scoring game, which is what you want. The lower scoring, the better. If it's high scoring, that's the problem for the Niners going forward. And I know you think that you just said the Niners will eventually get the offense going. My thinking is if you guys keep games low scoring, you can win each of those games. And so it's on the defense. Like if you guys got to score 28 points, it's not going to happen. Not now, not currently with Jimmy G and all that. But maybe Purdy comes in. Look, there have been crazier stories than Brock Purdy coming in and becoming something.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, these things happen all the time. And the Niners, you guys are notorious for drafting gems at the end, the later part of the draft. Would anybody be that shocked if Purdy ended up being the starter for like 5 years from now? He's just starter for the next 5 years. Like it wouldn't be that shocking. It wouldn't.
You never know. You
You
can't
never know.
stuff. You can't.
I mean, right now he's better than Jimmy G. If I could choose, if I could press the button right now, I'd press the button right now and put Purdy in the lineup tonight. Because I think it's inevitable that Jimmy's going to fail, like whether he's going to get hurt or whatever. And I'm sorry that sounds negative. But I think Purdy going in would be positive. I'm trying to draw a positive from it.
Yeah, no, I see.
Like why not see what Purdy's about? And like I said earlier, if the season does end up getting scrapped, and I'm not saying it will, you guys win tonight, you're in the mix, and you're going to see what game by game, take it game by game. But if at any point you feel like the season's scrapped, better to get Purdy prepared as the full-time backup, see what he's got, see if maybe he's a starter potential guy, and then you walk into 2023 with Purdy really vetted, totally matured, and then that way if Trey has any setbacks, you're like, we know what Purdy can do. We're good to go with our backup. We're good to go. Whereas it would suck to walk in, not know what Trey's capable of doing with the injury, coming back from all that, being out of football for so long. As much as I love Trey, another year. So to have Purdy come in with experience would be more beneficial than be like, okay, now we got no experience with Purdy, no experience with Trey. Jimmy's gone, which hopefully is the case. And it's like, I don't know. I like the idea of Purdy getting some run.
I mean, if things fall apart and Purdy's if they do plan on him being a backup, I mean, it doesn't hurt them to get Purdy in there and get him some active snaps because of course, if he's ever going to be a person that gets any type of action on this team, you want to see him get reps than not. So yeah, I agree with that. But again, we have to see what Jimmy can do with this team. He says he was rusty last week. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see if he can move on. But, I mean, it's not like we expect Jimmy to be this elite quarterback. Like, we know what Jimmy can be at his full peak. So we just have to hope that he can manage the game and limit mistakes, and not have a stinker. Like, last week was a clunker, man. That was just ugly. But there was a lot of factors there, But you're right. If the offense can step up and just break out of their shell, I think we'll be okay because this defense is just so good, man. Like, I felt bad for wasting that effort they have. But again, I think you're right. If it is like a shootout, it's going to favor the Rams because they have the ability to score easier than us. Now, granted, we have a defense that they haven't really played against, but eventually if you're going out there and you're playing a high level of defense, you're going to get tired, man. And I think our defense might gas out, and that's traditionally is what happened with the Niners. So I do hope that we can break out of a funk. I do think that if it's a lower scoring game, it might favor us because our defense plays pretty tight. But then again, if it's a crunch time game, we need to make sure we can move the ball just enough to close them out. Run the ball, eat the clock, put us in position to get a field goal if that's what it's going to come down to. So we still have to execute and get points or move the ball effectively when it matters most. That's the thing with the Niners is, can you move the ball when it matters most? Because they're always good for this one drive that's like, oh, my God, that was amazing. And then they just stop that. Like last week, they had an impressive drive for the touchdown, and it was like, oh, wow, that was good. That was efficient. They moved the ball, but then after that touchdown, it was like, no more. Punt, fumble, turnover. Well,
it's because Kyle plays different once he gets like a lead or once he gets it close or once he's in the fourth quarter. It's like
he doesn't play aggressive enough. You're right.
Somebody's got to go to him and say, Kyle, the fourth quarter is the same as the first quarter. Being up by 7 is the same as being down by 3. Someone needs to go in and be like, Kyle, don't change. Just play the game. Because this is what worries me about Kyle as a head coach. He doesn't do that. He completely changes up everything once he gets into a situation where it's a close game or you're up by a 3 or 7 or 10. It's like he completely dials back. There's a good amount of aggressiveness you should have and a good amount of like conservativeness you should have when you have a lead. But I feel like everyone knows that about Kyle. He takes his foot off the gas. And I don't know why he hasn't learned that. I don't know what makes him think. I don't know what makes any coach think that, hey, let's change up what's working and let's play conservative all of a sudden. Then you start telling teams what you're doing. Like, I'm going to run the ball. Okay, now we're not afraid of you throwing or running. We know what you're doing. You're going to try and run the clock out. 10 minutes with the game, 10, 12 minutes left in the game. You're going to run the ball out. You're going to run the clock out. Why are you going to be aggressive at all anymore? But I don't know, man. I think so run the ball today, turnovers. You need a turnover or two. Stafford's not 100%, so you could get to him. So
get to him. They got to him last year. They made him throw turnovers, throw picks. I think they will with the defense. Like, you got Nick Bosa, and I think Nick Bosa is going to have a clinic type game. That's the guy that's going to be an X factor. The defense again, Fred Warner, and they're going to be up in his face. And I agree. Like, you just have to go out there, put pressure on them, force the turnovers, and hopefully, if we have the league, be aggressive. And I agree with you 100%. It's the Niners, once they get a lead, they just change the way they play. They're so conservative, and that's the thing that has killed us over the years. In big games we've lost, we've always had the lead, and then we let teams hang around. We always let teams hang around, and eventually you're going to get tired on defense, and teams are going to score. They're going to adjust. Teams adjust in a game. Like, wow, that's a magical concept. Teams adjust, and that's what the Niners do. They adjust, or that's what teams do against the Niners. They adjust. And I feel like the Niners don't make those adjustments sometimes. So I agree. If the Niners are up, they need to keep on pressing down on the gas. You cannot take your foot off the gas. Push the ball down their throat and keep doing just keep doing what's working. Like, how Kyle said, he goes, oh, well, we're going to run this ball in this play. And his theory was, if you can't stop it, then I'm going to keep doing it. He doesn't have that same mentality when he has a lead. So when you have the lead, he needs to take his own damn advice, but he overthinks things too much. So let's hope that he just sticks to his game plan and is aggressive. So
yeah, and you use like I was saying all offseason, and I don't know why is Danny Gray really hurt, or is this like
that's the thing.
Because if Danny Gray's not hurt, he should be out there, and I don't know if this is Kyle not putting him out there for any other reason, like doghouse practice reason or something. I don't even know, but like if you've got Danny Gray, Ayuk, and Debo out there, and you do what we were talking about in the offseason, use all of them as wide back, then you're diluting the risk of getting Debo hurt. You're also confusing the hell out of the defense. If you've got Ayuk doing jet sweeps, and you've got Debo doing jet sweeps, and you've got Danny Gray doing jet sweeps, and you've got all three of them capable of catching the ball on like a screen at the line of scrimmage, essentially, where Debo's catching it 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage and has this like screen potential situation where he's cut across the field and all of a sudden he's free for 50, 60-yard gain. You do that with Danny Gray. You do that with Ayuk. All of a sudden, you don't even need Jimmy to do anything but just get the football to these guys, all three of them at the line of scrimmage, and just continue to run these very genius concepts that Shanahan is capable of drawing up. And I like that part about Shanahan, the offensive coordinator in Shanahan. But he gets in his own way. He steps on his own junk, bro. He steps right on his own junk all the time. He needs to get out of his own way. He needs to put these players in a position to do well. Danny Gray needs to be on the field. If he's even remotely healthy and they're doing this to just, I don't know what, is this like an Ayuk thing, doghouse thing? I don't know.
I mean, he says they say it's a hip injury. That's what it's listed as. I'm going to roll with it. But, I mean, we've seen in the past where it may not be the case. Again, I feel bad for Danny Gray because his rookie season really has not been a rookie season. It's no season. They called up Willie Snead, the veteran, to the active roster. That basically is telling me that Danny Gray's not playing tonight. It's been a tough rookie season for this guy, and then he may not get much action right now. Maybe he comes in later in the season and he gets some burn. But you're right. I feel like the Niners, they have so much like speed and talent.
Yeah.
Like if he was to just harness it and utilize it and give everybody a chance, because they have so much guys, but he gets stuck on like one guy here. We got to give Debo the ball up in these weird situations. But you're right. Ayuk can do jet sweeps. Danny Gray, Debo, like open that up and use those plays. He doesn't use that a lot anymore. And then George Kittle, they don't use him that much, man. It gets a little frustrating. Like I was watching that Chiefs game yesterday, and I'm sitting there going, oh man, if Kyle used Kittle the way Travis Kelce's used,
right?
It's crazy, man. Like, and I know a lot of people are, oh well, the quarterback situation. Come on, man. Like you can just throw Kittle and he'll beat any linebacker, and you can fucking get him the ball, bro.
What you need to have happen is it to be confusing as to whether Jimmy G's good or not. Like that's when you know that the offense is actually going to carry Jimmy G, where Jimmy G stepping back, and it's either going to be Debo creating the play, Ayuk creating the play, the running back creating the play, Kittle creating the play, and then occasionally Jimmy G, because you're so worried about all those things, can create a play. But if it's all got to go through Jimmy, and it's not like, okay, here Debo, here Ayuk, jet sweep. Like if you're not using, like you said, the speed of all these players, and then making Jimmy G kind of have his moment to shine once in a while because you're so worried and focused on all this chaos going on, then you're like, oh wait, Jimmy's a winner. Jimmy gets it done. Jimmy's playing pretty good. Like, because you're confused because he's not asked to do a lot. But if he's got to facilitate all of this, it's not going to happen. So Shanahan needs to keep to that, way of operating with this offense. Utilize the weapons fully.
Utilize the weapons.
Don't lean on freaking Jimmy G. And that's why I think Brock Purdy's a better option, because he can at least throw down the field, like people said in the comments. And if that's all you need to do is facilitate to these guys, let them make the plays, then why not get Purdy in there and see what he's got? I don't know. We'll see. If Jimmy fails badly at all, I would do that. I would move on immediately. I wouldn't drag it out for weeks. I would try and make sure, even if it's halftime and Jimmy's just looking like trash. Jimmy's turnover to touchdown ratios is awful, right? It's like what, 1 for 1?
Yeah, something like that.
Over the last 24 touchdowns or something like that, or I forget what the number is. Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah. I don't even 13 picks and then 9 fumbles. It was pretty even. Yeah, fumbles and picks were pretty close.
7 butt fumbles, 2 normal fumbles, partridge in a pear tree. This guy's if he looks good in the first half, you roll him out there in the second half. But if I'm the coach in this thing and he looks bad or ineffective, I'm putting Purdy in there, and I'm letting the Purdy experiment start immediately. And you start giving the football to you facilitate it to the playmakers. Like you said, Raj, you're sitting around all this speed. It's like they're a bunch of race cars going around here. And if you're just literally going, I'm going to have this guy get the football to him, and he's going to shot put the football, 5 and 6 yards down the field to these guys. And then you're going to try like get the football in their hands. Debo, Ayuk, get Gray out there. I don't know. Maybe Gray is really.
We don't know what Purdy can do. I know the fans don't.
What about what's his name?
At the end of the day, all they have to do is get the ball in these players' hands and mix it up, because you're right. It's becoming too one-dimensional. There's too much Debo. There's not enough Kittle. There's not enough Ayuk. It's one-dimensional. The Rams have studied Debo all offseason. He's getting paid $71 million. Obviously, we know he's your big weapon. Teams are going to key in on him. And that's what made the team so good, years back. Even last year and in 2019, it was the Yak Bros, right? Yak Bros, yards after catch. You get the ball to him. You dump it off to him. You throw a little short pass, like you said. Here you go. A little screen pass or whatever, slant over the middle. And you let them do the rest of the work. That's why Kyle gets these guys like Kittle, who can run after the catch, Debo, who can run after the catch, Ayuk, who can run after the catch. Facilitate the ball to them, move it out, spread it out. You don't the Niners don't have to throw it deep. I would love to see it. I think when Trey comes back next year, it's going to open it up. We know that. And that's what's going to make this offense go crazy. But you don't have to with Jimmy and a guy like that. You just got to facilitate the ball better. And I hope that's what they do tonight. Use the run game, run. And then when teams are stacking the box, that's when you spread it out. You go, okay, screen, hey, boom, slant over the middle, because everybody's coming. Receiver's going to be open over the middle. So that's literally all you got to do. But he's overcomplicating it because that's what he does. He just overthinks things. But, again, if the Niners can stick to their plan, run the ball, and get the ball to your playmakers, it sounds easy. They should work tonight. But, again.
Is Mcleod healthy?
Yeah, Mcleod's healthy.
So, if you can't use Danny Gray, use Mcleod in the same context. But there should be no reason that you don't have all 3 of those wide receivers just doing the same things to confuse defenses. Because everyone's saying that in the chat, you don't think the Rams have, game plan against Debo. That's my point. Is if
they know
you
they
have
know. Yeah, they know.
Ayuk and Mcleod doing the same things Debo's doing, because they're all 3 speedy, shifty, capable, wide back capable players. Why not have How do you know what to do? It's kind of like in the heist movies where 3 different trucks come out and you don't know which one's got the gold in it, and they're driving all 3 trucks around, and then they go off in different directions, and the cops are trying to say which truck has the gold in it. It's like you got 3 weapons that are fully capable of doing the wide back roll, and Gray, especially if he comes back. Why not make it to where McVay and the Rams are like, we don't know which one. There's motion all over the place. Is it going to be Ayuk that's going to get the wide back action? Is it McLeod? And then that way Jimmy's just facilitating in a small radius of it's like
he's just a traffic man. He's just like a traffic
cop. Traffic cop.
Yeah, like when you're in the airport and you have the airline traffic guy with like directing traffic.
Debo.
No, Smitty, that's all you need to do.
I know.
That's all you have to do. Direct the traffic. Okay, Debo here. Like, Ayuk here. Because honestly, you need to call the McVay's bluff or any coach's bluff, because every coach knows that Kyle is going to stick to his way. He's so stubborn. Like, he's not going to change it because he thinks that I can beat you with Debo every single time. I can do it. But if you actually utilize these other guys like Ray and sprinkle in Ayuk here and do this, you can do the same plays, Smitty, just like you said, but just do it with another guy. They won't expect it because they're all loading up for Debo, the $71 million man. But if you give the ball on the same type of play to Ray, they'll be like, oh, shit. Then they start playing Ray.
Yeah.
Debo's open, and then you start covering Debo. And then Ayuk, like, that's all you got to do. Just do this. Go and be the traffic coordinator.
Ayuk's rookie year, if you Google or YouTube Brandon Ayuk's rookie year, you will see Debo Samuel. Like all of his highlights are Debo Samuel run. Like they're mostly, you see a lot of runs. Most of all Ayuk's highlights are those wide back looking plays. Like he almost became the Debo, and everybody like you like Debo that year. I liked Ayuk that year coming out, and then Debo had his monster year.
Debo had his injury that year, so
yeah. But I pictured that year after the injury. I pictured Ayuk having what Debo had that year. You saw Debo doing it. You called that was a nice call. But like I what I saw from Ayuk the rookie year, I thought that Shanahan was going to use him that way that he used Debo. So like we know Ayuk's capable of it. Ayuk almost became that, because his rookie year, that's what he looked like.
But he did, and I think that Ayuk did that though that year. Now looking back, is because Debo was hurt that year, so they're like, well, okay, now we got to utilize someone else. But that's the thing. Like Kyle just needs to look back and say, oh, I could do it with somebody else, because you're right. Rookie Ayuk was literally the wide back. Like that was the formation of the wide back. Because rookie Debo was also kind of that. He was slowly starting to build it, because it was like jet sweep. Like all his touchdowns were literally jet sweep. I remember Seahawks game, boom, he hits the corner, spins. Carolina game, boom, hits the corner, a jet sweep. And then he does it against the Rams. He did it against the Rams. He hit the corner, jet sweep. Like he did that so many times. And then he did it with Ayuk the next year, Giants game, Eagles game, he does the hurdle. Like, that's just what he was doing with these guys. So now if you have both of them, you can literally do the same thing with both those guys. But I don't know why he gets locked in on one guy. Again, he has the capability. He just needs to have a little bit more. I think it's confident. I just don't think he has confidence in everybody. That's it. And he gets a little, like, stubborn. I think he wants to be the star. He doesn't want to have, like, the players be the stars. That's the way I feel.
I think he's the kind of guy that if somebody came up to him and said, hey, I got this idea, he'd be like, no, it's not my idea. I'm not doing it.
No. Maybe. But again, if tonight they have a masterclass and those guys are cooking, then there you go, Shannon. That's all we need. Just got to keep it rolling. It's going to be a weird season. I just hope that we can win enough and win these types of games, because this is a big game. Niners have won 5 in a row at home. I think they can get it done. But it's all to me, the key word, Smitty, is execution. Because the plays were there last week. They just didn't execute. I think someone said in the comments, just don't get backed up against the goal line. I just hope they don't back up.
You know how much of a Trey Lance supporter I am. Everybody in here knows how much of a Trey Lance supporter I am. But I'm going to say this from a business perspective. Okay, if I was running this thing, I would treat it like a business. I wouldn't take it personal. I'd treat it like a business. You guys have a Super Bowl caliber team, but you don't have a super caliber quarterback situation. Regardless of, maybe you're thinking Trey becomes that. Honestly, I'm worried about that. The way that Shanahan supported him, I don't see evidence that he's going to have an easy road, to be honest. I think if this was me, if I was in charge, I would trade for a quarterback. I would figure out a way to get this team into a Super Bowl caliber form immediately, because you have a Super Bowl caliber team. You have a Super Bowl caliber potential. All the pieces are there, but the quarterback spot, and that's what I would do. You guys don't need to wait around and just sit and maybe we'll get a maybe it'll develop like it. When we talked about trading for A-Rod, we talked about trading for Russell Wilson, and I know Russell Wilson's looked like cheeks lately. So we he may have not worked out. I don't. Maybe he would have worked out.
Who's that quarterback that they go for? Jimmy Robinson wants to know.
What quarterback?
Yeah, who do they get? Because that's the thing, they already gave up the house for Trey. Like,
yeah,
I think
some of the problem is that a lot of these guys that were available are now currently not available. But
I think like before Trey happened, they had a different plan in mind, but it didn't go right. So they went in for Trey, which I love Trey, and I think he's gonna step up and do well. But it's gonna take a little bit of time for him to get to where he needs to be.
I mean,
especially after injury. But like now you're kind of pressed up. You're all in on Trey. Like you put yourself in a position where like you're right, because this offseason it could be still where they go and get like there's still a chance where they go and get there's like Lamar Jackson. I'm just out there. I don't think they will, but there's still other opportunities because now you have the uncertainty of is Trey going to be ready next year because he is injured. And I love Trey and I want him to succeed, but there's going to be so much question. Like next offseason, I already know there's going to be these questions. There's going to be these rumors. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just knowing how this team works, knowing how social media works, knowing how sports media is, these are going to be the things that are going to be brought up in the next couple months, especially depending on how the Niners record is. If they're bad, that's going to be brought up a lot. Now, if they're good, it won't be brought up as much. It's going to get interesting.
What would make you not go after Lamar hardcore in the offseason if you had this roster? You know what I mean? Like those are the things that frustrate me. You see a team that's
again, it depends on if Kyle 100% wants to trust Trey, because he's botched this so bad. Like they should have put their trust in Trey from day one.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that he doesn't trust because we don't know what's going on behind the locker room. But the fact that he kept on to Jimmy, he held on to that was his safety valve. Again, we've talked about Plan B. That was his safety valve. Was like, we're going to keep the safety valve. If he would have just let go, as hard as it may have been, because I get it, Jimmy's been there through thick and thin. He's helped change the culture, and I know you don't see it my way because I'm a fan, and I do respect Jimmy. I don't want to sit here and talk that shit because I do respect him. Do I think he's an elite quarterback? No, he's not. We know what Jimmy is, but he's very well respected by Kyle. And I know it would have been hard for him to get rid of him and cut that tie, but I think he should have, because that would have shown you're all in on Trey. We might have struggled last year, and that's okay. And I know everybody's like, we got to win a Super Bowl. But guess what? Did we last year? No. So in hindsight, yeah, if we would have went through last year's season, took our lumps, let Trey develop, I don't think that would have been the worst thing, because in the end, we didn't win a Super Bowl. You know?
But what would make you not go hardcore at? You were in charge. I'm saying, what would even make you consider not going hardcore after Lamar? Doesn't matter how much you like Trey. Doesn't matter.
No, again, and that's what I'm saying is it would be me as a coach or man or somebody in the front office saying, no, we've invested in this young man. We need to show him that. Like I think that's what it is. It's going to be, we need to show him that trust that maybe we didn't show him last year. Now, would I go after Lamar if the opportunity presents itself? You damn right I would. I mean, the guys, look at the season he's having. He's a great quarterback. I think he'd come in with this roster. They'd win a Super Bowl. But I'm not saying that I don't Trey. Like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, no, I'm not either.
Because
I love
Trey.
Trey.
But needs to win. They have a Super Bowl window, and you want to win now. So that I'm just saying, if you were to capitalize on this team with what it has in place, Lamar would make sense, right? But I'm saying, as a fan that loves Trey Lance, I think you got to stay all in and put the chips in on him. But again, you don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty now with the injury, and that's a very unfortunate situation.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It'll be interesting. Hey, I got to run for now, but good luck tonight.
For sure.
May some of your bets with me win. May some of them not. Hopefully, Juwan Jennings doesn't have like 8 touchdowns.
If Juwan has 2 touchdowns tonight, I will be feeling very good about our bet. And that's just one. But I just need one from him tonight, because right now there's a pit in my stomach. This is going to be week 4. If he has 0 touchdowns after week 4.
I'll tell you what, Raj. I'll tell you what, right here, right now in front of everybody, okay? Right. Just you give me 75% of the money for the jersey up front right now,
No.
and I'll cancel our bet.
No.
Okay.
We're going to let this ride out. We're going to let it ride out, baby.
For those that don't know, it's Juwan Jennings 6 touchdowns or more, is it?
You know, the moment I give you the money up front, he's going to have 7 tonight. So let's not. Yeah, let's not. We're
Maybe
waiting.
I'll approach it each week and see when you end up just cutting ties.
We'll see how it goes week to week basis. Thanks for hopping in today. Go follow the Fantasy Football Show, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you all. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, thanks, bud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Smitty, nice of him to drop in. It was a fun time today. Hopefully we get this dub tonight. I'll see you guys tonight. We'll talk after the game. Let's hope the Niners get the dub. I appreciate you guys. And, again, let's hope we get this dub because it will be a good night if we get the dub. And if we don't, it's going to get toxic up in here. Jimmy says, to be fair, Rodgers counting on a full season of Trey for that bet. I was. You're right, Jimmy. But at the end of the day, a bet is a bet. Things happen, and you have to consider all factors. So, if you really look at it, Jimmy, Juwan Jennings cooked it last year with Jimmy at quarterback. So let's see what happens. He's been stepping in. He's been the most consistent receiver, actually, on this team, Juwan Jennings. But he just can't score a damn point. Nobody can score a point. Let's see if that changes tonight. Let's go, Niners. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button for me. It takes us. Just hit the like button. I love you. Have a good rest of your day. Go Niners. Let's get this dub, baby.